Hey folks, in this lesson we are going to continue our work on the decision logic of our Python game. In the previous two lessons we've been looking at if, elif, else. We're going to do that again today, but we're going to try and increase the number of options that we might give our player in certain steps down the track. So let's get started. What we have here again is a visual diagram, a decision tree or logic tree of what our player might be doing. So they will be at the start, and then they have three options. They could go to the river, the cave, or a forest. And if we go to PyCharm, this is some code I've typed up that does pretty much that exact same thing. So we have a variable, and we've assigned it a question, and we've got some information in that question that would be helpful for the player. So where do you want to go, the river, cave, or forest? And based on what the player says, they can go to that specific location. So let's give it a shot. If we were to run it, where do you want to go, river, cave, or forest? We could type cave, hit enter, you go to the cave, it is dark and scary. Cool. So that is a good start, but let us say that when the player goes to the cave or the river or the forest, we want them to have other options. They might want to do some more stuff. So when perhaps they go to the cave, there's a goblin, and they could either fight the goblin or they could run away, and so on and so forth. Well, how do we do that? Very easily done. What we do is just give ourselves a bit of space. This doesn't change the code, but it's going to allow us to sort of block things up a bit. And if we remember that what we have here are these compound statements, that's a compound statement, this is a compound statement, and this is a compound statement. We just need to ensure that we are working within one of these at a time. Okay, so that's sort of the first step. Now, we're looking at the cave. We want to ask, we're going to either fight the goblin or not. So, while I'm clicking here, I'm just going to hit enter. I'm still indented within this, the cave conditional, and I'm going to start our process all over again. I'm going to make a variable goblin equals in push. There is a goblin in the cave. Do you want to fight it, or run away? Question mark like that. I hit enter. I'm still indented. This is very important. And I'm going to set up a new batch of conditional statements. So I could say if goblin is, we want to find it. Well then, print, you fight the goblin and win, you win the game. Elif goblin equals run away. Print, you try to run away. Goblin, but he gets you and you die. The end. What a crazy story. Now we could also put else, else, print, you need to either fight or run away. Okay. Now if we look at this, again, I'm going to draw my boxes just to sort of visualize these control statements, or the compound statements. That is a compound statement, and this is a compound statement, and within it is this compound statement right here. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I reckon this would be it. There we go. That's a compound statement. That's a compound statement. And that is a compound statement there. Okay? And you could do this as long as you want. Later down the track, we will show an easier way of sorting this out. But we are just putting more conditional statements within another conditional statement. And this process is called nesting. So this might pop up later down the track, but nesting is the process of putting another compound statement indented within another compound statement. Usually for conditionals, like if, elif, else. You can do it for a whole bunch of things, but you normally see it in this kind of process. Let's run the game. Let's see what happens. So if I run the game, where do you want to go? River, cave, or forest? I'll type cave, hit enter. You go to the cave, it is dark and scary. There's a goblin in the cave. Do you want to fight or run away? Let us fight. You fight the goblin, you win the game. So this is the process. It will get complicated the more decisions that you add, though, obviously, because it's going to be expanding. But for the moment, the easy way, the basic way that we have to learn, this will be good enough. But you have to be very careful about your indentation. This is what trips up a lot of people. It could be tempting to kind of start moving these over here. You know, you could like just, you know, if these are all sort of indented, and we'll just run it. We'll see what happens. It's just an error instantly. There's just always an error. So for this code to be available for the player, it needs to be indented within the appropriate control structure. And if I backtrack, like if I wanted to make, I'll do another one. Like if we're at the river, okay, and I've just got a bunch of different options. Maybe it's like, do you want to swim? Okay, so we go to swim, input, do you want to swim? If I just, at the end of this line, hit enter, I'll be good. PyCharm will automatically indent you appropriately. So you've just got to keep track of that. And say if swim equals yes, print, you manage to swim to the other side. But you now have hypothermia. Do you light a fire or not? You know, and then we can keep going like this. So then we can go fire equals input. Oh, do you light a fire? Yeah. Do I want to fire? Do you light a fire? If fire is yes, print, you are nice and toasty. If fire is no, print, you pass away from hypothermia. And you can keep going on down the track. And what you could end up getting, something that's practical to aim for, is you could have, you know, something like this. Maybe, maybe max like 2 other statements like nested on another statement. But if you were to say for each one add another 2 and then another 2, it's what's called exponential growth, and you'll end up having a huge number of statements, and it gets very convoluted. But for the moment, just in terms of practice, this is very practical to do. So you can make a game that sort of works this way. And let's just run it again. Do you want to go river, cave, or forest? We'll go river. You go to the river, it's cold and wet. Do you want to swim? Yes. You manage to swim to the other side, but you now have hypothermia. No. You've got hypothermia. So just a bit of advice in terms of like the process in running the nesting is every time you sort of add a block of code, run the program first and just see if you can navigate that way. Because a lot of the bugs that might come up here are not so obvious. They might be what's called logical bugs. And the program seems to run, but it doesn't run the way that you want. And it won't actually put out an error like, oh, you're missing a colon or something like that. That's an easy one to spot. The other thing is just like, give yourself some space. And this is a part where like your comments can be kind of useful. So this could, you know, first choice or something like that, or like first big block, like you can name it that way. This could be called the swim block. This is the fire one. Like you can do, oh, I shouldn't even say if, oh, that was a mistake, elif fire. There we go. You know, this is the fire block, that sort of thing. So you can start to use the comments, even have an enter there or something like that, just to start spacing them out, work at them one at a time, sort of working with your direction. The other thing is having a bit of a map that you can sort of work through. The map doesn't need to have a huge amount of detail, but it just kind of gives you a direction of where you're going. But there are obviously limitations to this as well. Like you might want to be able to say, go to the river, then come back to the start. And there is a very easy way to do this, but we're not teaching you this lesson. This way, unfortunately, at the moment, we can only go in one direction with our game. But there is still stuff to do there. Okay, but hopefully nesting is not too complicated. If you just slow down, use space, do one thing at a time, run the code, you should be pretty good. Just check your indentation. That will be the number one problem that comes up.